you are all doing well, and I hope you are listening to the lectures being posted every day. And yesterday we have seen the in the regarding Paradise Lost, the epic conventions, how Paradise Lost fulfills the epic conventions, and also we have seen the other point of view, that is Paradise Lost style, the complex style of Paradise Lost, and what were the sources of motivation or inspiration for Milton to write about the fall of man, one of the biblical themes that we have seen. And today I wish to conclude the my lectures on Paradise Lost, and I wish to go to the next text from Monday onwards. So I am here to give a concluding lecture regarding Paradise Lost. So, after many issues of Paradise Lost and the literal analysis of the text that we have gone through for many classes, I hope you have understood what is the essence of the book one as such. The essence or the gist of the book one is nothing but invocation, as it is the beginning. It begins in the middle of the story of the fall of man. Okay, this is the story of the fall of man, and it begins in the middle, wherein Saturn was falling down from the heaven to the hell, and we have seen how for all fallen angels, what is there or what was their situation in the hell, in the deep pit of hell, and amidst the burning fiery lakes, etc. And also, we have seen the gist of the book one is the description of the hell, and how fallen angels are situation. How is the situation of fallen angels in the hell, and also how they try to reorganize themselves, and how they try to decide their future course of action, and then how they built pandemonium, and how they were getting ready to what you call take up the council, that is the meeting. Okay, the council of the meeting of all the fallen angels to discuss their future course of action, which of course is nothing but waging a war, an endless immortal war, as we have seen. So because they were also angels, though fallen, they are immortal, and so the war of course is immortal, and they want to continue it. This is the gist of the for book one of the Paradise Lost. And also we have seen the important conventions that were followed by Milton. And today in the concluding class, I just want to give you the structural overview of Paradise Lost. It's actually composed in 10 books. I think I have mentioned previously, and it is revised in 1674. That was the last print during the lifetime of Milton, and he divided in this revision, in this edition, the book into 12. And actually the books 7 and 10 are divided into 2 books. So when he published 10 books, he divided the book 7 and book 10 into 2 books, and added some more lines, and then made it a complete 12 book series. And whatever be the reason, some people say that in order to bring an epic status to this poem, he divided this, etc. And some offer some other reasons, and whatever reasons there might be, these 12 books we will get with 4 invocations. So at 4 places we have the writer, that is the poet, invocating the muse. Okay, in where actually they are book 1, as we have already seen in the book 1, and book 3, book 7, and book 9. They scholars, Milton's scholars and critics say that it offers a good structural division for the Paradise Lost. So, based upon the invocations that were incorporated into different books like 1, 3, 7, and 9, we can have the structural part of the Paradise Lost into four sections. One is book 1 and 2, where we have the portrayal of hell and heaven. And next, books 3 to 6, 3, 4, 5, 6. They are together, these four books are considered one, where you have heaven, God, and paradise before the fall. So it these 3, 4, 5, 6, these books describe heaven, God, paradise before the fall. And then books 7 and 8, they are digression about the creation of the world. Okay. And then books 9, 10, 11, and 12. This means 4, they are about the fall, the punishment, the prophetic visions of the future. So this is how the overall structure, of course, is of the Paradise Lost. And this division actually gives us a kind of rising and falling movement. That means first book we are in the heaven, and then fall to hell in the first book itself, and then we have Saturn. Okay. And then again in the third book we go to heaven, and then come back to the digression of creation of the world in book 7 and 8, etc. And then again in the last four books we have the fall. So like it is which is the main theme. The main theme of the Paradise is Lost is the human fall, and accordingly, this division of the books show that kind of fall, okay, rise and fall, etc. And it is, of course, as I told you, is composed in a non-linear structure, because it is not composed as per the actual story, the happenings of the story within the story. Because as we have already seen that in medias res, that is the convention of the epic poem, and Milton followed it. So it is not a linear construction or narration of the story. Linear means according to the chronology or dates, etc. That will not happen. Okay. So it is also one more thing regarding Paradise Lost. Of course, we have to estimate the greatness of the Paradise Lost. It is one of the greatest epic poems in the European tradition. So you may not get a question, but if you get, you can gather matter how great it is, and of course it is uh, considered to be the greatest of epic poets, on like Homer and Virgil, and of course Spenser, though he could not finish writing his epic, that is Fairy Queen, though he formulated that, he could not finish it. Even then, we can, of course, find greatness of Spenser as a poet. There, if we read the unfinished poem also reveals the greatness of Spenser. So Milton, of course, is considered to be a great poet in the tradition of European tradition of, say, Homer, Virgil, and others who are the great epic poets. And he is also considered to be a great epic poet who, of course, made the English epic a very great composition. And of course, in the all the literature that we have in English literature, the perhaps the complete and notable epic is Milton's Paradise Lost only. And then the other thing that I wanted to touch in Paradise Lost is actually the character of Saturn. Okay. The character of Saturn, of course, is very polemical and argumentative. Many critics feel that Milton actually presented the character of Saturn in a very impressive manner, again and again, giving him so many, attributing him so many positive qualities also at times, and that is evident in book one. Actually, William Blake, one of the romantic poets of English literature, he says that Milton is of the devil's side or party, without knowing it. So we also have seen in book one, if you read book one, and if you listen to the lectures, we can see how very with giving what you say, epithets, etc. Milton praises Saturn, and he tries to bring out the leadership qualities, and Milton presents Saturn as a very great leader, and also a good orator. If you refer to Saturn's speeches, with reference to the Saturn speeches, of course, you can write a note on the character of Saturn. Saturn, though was rebellious against God, though he waged war, though he is considered to be unholy, and he did impious war against God, he is actually praiseworthy in all his qualities. Being the leader, he is the first one to rise out of the unconscious state of falling from such a height. And then, being a leader, he, of course, tries to motivate his followers. And also, he calls upon them never to yield. And also, he has many sayings like, the words, to quote the words of Milton, he says that the mind in its own place will make a hell out of heaven and a heaven out of hell. That is what. See how much, what do you call, as those lines actually reveal the what do you call, positive attitude, or the stubborn attitude of Saturn. So if you go through the speeches, different speeches of Saturn, of course you will find that Milton has given much importance to the portrayal of Saturn's character with speeches, etc. And one more thing is, Milton in his personal life, okay, in his life, in his real life, was also very rebellious, and he was favor of regicide, in that is killing the king. King is the monarch, okay. Of course, king, of course, is considered to be a divine personality, and the king is, of course, a descendant of God. So in the monarchical form of governments, it is believed that king and God are equal, and kings are like gods, and their words cannot be, what do you say, contradicted. And in the similar manner, we could see that Milton, of course, was never a soul to follow the commandments of the king, as we could see Saturn, who could not follow the commandments of king, and moreover, he actually put God uh, to the test, to test the power of God. And he always says that the monarch, God the monarch, is reigning high, supreme in the heaven. So if we read book one, and in all the speeches, we will understand that Saturn is reflecting the rebellious spirit of Milton. So if you have to write a question on the character of Saturn, you have to mention that. See, from all these speeches, taking some phrases as I have quoted just now, like that, which reflect the personalities, or the unique features of the personality of Saturn, we have to portray, or we have to write how, very impressively Milton, or the poet, has tried to, what you call, portray the character of Saturn. Besides portraying what is Saturn's willpower and his stubbornness and undaunting fear. Okay, and also his decision to wage war and not to yield at all. So his confidence in himself, etc. And besides these traits of the personality, you can also talk about when you need to write a question on the character of Saturn. Besides pointing out all the traits, psychological traits Saturn, you can also point out the size, monstrous size of Saturn that is described with the help of epic similes. Okay, if of course if you go back to the text, you will find how using epic similes, the monstrous size of Saturn was brought into our mind. So the visual or the visionary effect with clear cut images, etc., and drawing all the metaphors and similes he drives us, the fact that Saturn is monstrous in size, okay, comparing it to Leviathan, etc. So the you when you are writing a question on the character of Saturn, of course you can refer to those lines where Saturn's physical personality is described, and then his uh, the character as a leader, as an orator, his greatness as an orator, when he gives a single call, how all the fallen angels rise and attend upon him. That is the command that he can, that is the power of Saturn upon his followers. And even though he lost the battle, that confidence or that belief in their leader, the fallen angels did not lose. So that is also one of the great quality of Saturn. So you have to, if at all you have to write a character sketch of Saturn, you have to mention all these points. And of course, one more question is to consider Paradise Lost as an epic poem. So you have all the epic conventions. Paradise Lost is no doubt an epic poem with its universal theme. First of all, you have to state that, and also the long narrative that runs, I think, to 10,000 lines or more than 10,000 lines in 12 books, the division of 12 books. And then you can say, following the epic conventions of formal speeches, and then epic similes, and then grand style. Okay, regarding style, I have given you much matter. So, how style was very important for the epic, and Milton made it because he should make it suitable to the poem, the serious or a very serious type of poem that he has taken. That also, and then you have epic similes, a question on epic similes. So I advise you to go back to the text and see where you have important epic similes. Especially I give you the example of the fallen angels, how fallen angels were described lying on the fiery gulf of hell, how they are described. That is one epic simile. And then to describe the monstrous size of Saturn, that also you can take. That is one more epic simile. And then you have another example in the text regarding the you know um, pandemonium, while they were building the pandemonium, and after they have gathered, all the fallen angels have gathered, how they were appearing. Okay, that epic simile you can take. And here and there you may get some more less elaborated epic similes, of course you will get. So make a note of, keep open the text or keep listening to my lectures, open the text, and then try to make a note of all the important epic similes, at least five, at least minimum of five, because if an essay you have to write, at least you have to write about five epic similes if the question comes. And remember one thing, whenever you are writing a question on this particular text, that is Paradise Lost, you have to develop a paragraph of introduction for the poet and then introduction to the poem. Okay. For introduction in the poem, I have given many, lines describing the greatness, structure, and publications. Okay. And the background composition, background, etc. So you can take 10 or 15 lines from the introductory lectures of Paradise Lost, and make a note of those lines and try to develop a paragraph of introduction about the text. About the text. Okay, whenever you are writing a question on Paradise Lost, make it a point that you write um, Paradise Lost introduction to the poet, and then introduction to the poem, and then come to the question asked. So you have to mold that question. So in the concluding lecture, I hope you have gone through the lectures, or that means you have listened all the lectures, and if possible, try to make a note of all the uh, points that you can. And besides, I will be supplying notes, but don't rely on the notes always. Try to listen and make notes of your own. And of course, you can refer to other sources also, but refer to reliable sources. Okay. And yes, if what is the main theme of Paradise Lost is the fall of man, and also aim is to justify the ways of God to man. Okay, that is also there. So that question may also be asked. So what are the Puritan elements in the Paradise Lost? That question may be asked. And Puritanism can be asked as a short answer question, or you consider or write Milton as a Puritan poet. So what is Puritanism? And I have told you, please go back to that lecture and listen. And do you find the Puritan characteristics or principles in Milton's personality? And they were reflected in Paradise Lost also. In actually certain to certain extent, the Puritan rebellious spirit, of course. So reformation to purify, etc. How Milton can be considered as a poet of Puritanism, etc., can be asked, though it is not that much important, because the questions may be revolving around the text only, and one book is only prescribed for your study. So most probably questions will be limited to the uh, context of the book, the prescribed book, rather than covering all the books, etc. Okay. So these are the few things that I have to share regarding the Paradise Lost. So this is my final lecture on Paradise Lost. We will start the new poem, or introduction to the next thing, whatever it is, from Monday onwards. I hope, I think I will be giving an online class link on Monday, so that we can conclude. Of course, conclusion is over of Paradise Lost. You can interact for an interaction, interactive session. I will give the link and try to join. All of you try to join on Monday. Okay. Have a nice day.